This video podcast is going to contain information on consumer preferences, in particular the monotonic property of them. Let's start with a definition to get it out of the way. If bundle A has at least as much of both good X and Y as bundle B, and bundle A has strictly more of at least X or Y, then bundle A will be strictly preferred to bundle B. Now let's use a graphical explanation to get a better idea of what's going on in this definition. On the board now we have listed 5 consumer bundles, A, B, C, D, and E, with the respective coordinates below in terms of X and Y. Consumer A's coordinates 5, 5, B 5, 1, C 1, 1, D 1, 5, E 3, 3. And I went ahead and graphed these on the board above. Using the monotonic property, we'll be able to assess 3 pretty interesting facts about this graph. The first being which consumer bundle the consumer would value the most. Second, which consumer bundle the consumer would value the least. And third, by the end of it, we're going to know a pretty decent idea of the order in which the consumer would value all the bundles. Now I'm going to take you guys through the process in which I use to evaluate these consumer preference problems, and I think it's a pretty easy way. When you're looking at these consumer preference problems, you're always starting out looking at a particular bundle. So, in this instance, we're going to use bundle Y with coordinates X prime, Y prime to demonstrate the process that I use. The first step that I do is to draw a horizontal and vertical dotted line through the comparison bundle, bundle lambda. After I draw this horizontal and vertical line through our comparison bundle, bundle lambda, you can see that these dotted lines separate the graph of the bundle lambda into 4 different quadrants. I'm going to go ahead and label these quadrants 1 through 4, starting in the upper right-hand corner and going clockwise, with 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, using the monotonic property of consumer preferences, we're able to tell some pretty neat things again about this. In quadrant 1, anything located on the dotted line and inside the quadrant is going to be strictly preferred to the comparison bundle, bundle lambda. If we look at quadrant 2, anything inside the quadrant, not including the dotted line. Remember here, this is very important, you cannot include the dotted line when you're looking at the second quadrant. We don't have enough information to assess the preference order in which the consumer values any bundles located in quadrant 2 compared to the comparison bundle lambda. So here when we're looking at, we're not able to tell any information within the quadrant. If we look at quadrant 3, we can say that any bundle located on the dotted line or within the bundle will not be preferred to the comparison bundle lambda. So that's the comparison bundle will be strictly preferred to all bundles located on the dotted line or within quadrant 3. And if we look at quadrant 4, it's the same story as quadrant 2. We don't include the dotted lines, and anything within this quadrant we don't have enough information about to assess whether the consumer would value this bundle more than this bundle. We'll learn a little bit more about how we can eventually determine the preference for this, but that'll be through a difference curve to cover later in the course. Now let's get back to our example of our 5 consumer bundles. So it's always my suggestion to start at the bottom of the graph. So here, that would be bundle C. So I've already took the liberty to draw these dotted lines through all the bundles so we can kind of move this thing along a little more quickly. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So anything located in 1, including the dotted line, is going to be greater than our bundle C. So it looks like in this example, everything is greater than bundle C. So bundle C is the least preferred so far. So bundle C, least preferred. Now, let's move up to bundle E. After you get through the lowest bundle on the graph, there's really no particular right order to go in. It's really just whatever kind of way you choose to move. So here, let's look at, we have 1, 2, 3. Once again, this is just labeling the quadrants for the bundles. And we can say that anything in quadrant 3 is going to be strictly less than, is not going to be preferred to bundle E. So that's C, which we've already found that out because it's the least preferred object. And we're going to look at quadrant 2 and 4, and we can see that D and B are located in these quadrants. But since when we talked about over here in our example, anything located in quadrants 2 and 4, we're not going to have enough information without information we'll learn later in the class to assess whether the consumer would value D over E. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cross these off because we don't know whether you're going to be able to value those more. But then we're left with our first quadrant, with quadrant number 1. You can see we have bundle A left in this quadrant, which says that when we go back to our rule earlier, anything located in quadrant 1 is going to be greater than or equal to, greater than our comparison bundle, in this case bundle E. So we know that A is greater than E, which is greater than or equal to C, which is greater than or equal to D, which is greater than, or this isn't C, I'm sorry, greater than or equal to B, which is all greater than or equal to C. So we know that this one, this is our star, that's our most preferred. These guys are our check mark, these are our least preferred. These guys in the middle are all kind of quasi-preferred. Without indifference curves, we're not able to determine whether those are ranked in any particular order at the moment. So, that was our example of how to use the monotonic property to identify which consumer bundles and how you rank them. That will be helpful on your homework. 3 little rules that you can kind of use that I keep in my head is 1, all bundles located in quadrant 1 will be strictly deferred to the comparison bundle, whatever the comparison bundle is. Rule number 2, in quadrant 3, the comparison bundle will always be strictly preferred to all other bundles. And 3, without a difference curve information, the preferences cannot be assessed in quadrant 2 and 4. So that is our story, and I hope you had some fun, and I'll see you around.